So this is a tutorial on how to bake digital cookies. We're going to be using Illustrator and Photoshop, and I swear it's going to be a lot easier than baking it in the oven because I usually burn those, but besides the point, let's get started. So I have Illustrator open right now, and from there I'm going to drag in a doodle that I took a photo of. So there my doodle is, and I'm going to resize it with Shift. And then from there, let's duplicate that with Option. So there it is. And then Image Trace, and we're going to expand that. So there we go. If you couldn't find that at the bar, you could click Windows Image Trace. From there, because I expanded it, I can take out all the unnecessary things. So I deleted that, and I'll delete this, and then I'll delete that one as well. So from there, I'm just going to highlight all of that, and I'm going to turn it all into white. So this one is going to serve as the cookie base. So this is the fill, and that became white. And then let's highlight all of that and turn the stroke into white as well. So I did that, and then this is Option, and I dragged that, and it duplicated the same thing that I did. And because the bottom one will be the frosting, I just took out the stroke. And so now we're going back to the first one, or the top one, and that one I'm going to play around with the stroke. Because it's the cookie base, I'm actually going to make the stroke a little bit larger. So just going to play around with that to see what feels right. So once we're happy with the stroke of the cookie base, we're gonna highlight all of that and drag it into Photoshop. So from there, let's resize it a little bit with Shift. Move it around. And then from there, let's do FX Color Overlay. So we're just gonna look for a color that resembles that of a cookie the most. So there's no real precise measurement really, it's just eyeballing it to see what closely resembles it. So we're just gonna play around with that, click OK, and from there let's also do FX Bevel and Emboss. There we go. And then with that, let's play with texture a little bit. Let's add a subtle texture, and let's go back to Bevel and Emboss, and let's play with the highlights. So let's do that, and we can also even change the color, so I'm just going to change it to match that of my background a little bit more. And a little bit there, and then let's do drop shadow, and let's do a really subtle drop shadow, and that'll do. So we click OK, and then from there, let's open up internet and let's go to unsplash.com. So I typed in cookie texture pictures or cookie textures, and here's one. So this is a really good resource for free photos. I'm going to download that one, and it's that of a ground, but the texture works perfectly. So it downloaded and opened in my Photoshop, and I unlocked it and I dragged it back into my Photoshop file. So I tried to clip it and with Command, and it doesn't work, so let's Command J, duplicate that, and then from there let's convert that to a smart object. So I'm going to clip it with Command again, and it works. So let's play a little bit with the scaling of the texture. So I'm just going to make it a little bit smaller, and you can do that with what I'm doing right now. You can do that at the top bar, and then of course clip it together so you can keep the sizing of it or link it together. And then I'm playing with the blending mode, and I actually think multiply kind of works perfectly, so let's do that, and let's make the fill a little bit less so it looks more subtle. And there you have it. That's the cookie base. So let's jump back into Illustrator and let's play with cookie frosting. So this is the cookie frosting. I'm just going to take one by one, and I'm going to lay it over the cookie base. So there's that one, and then I'm going to move that one over, and then there's the L. I'm going to put that there. Granted, you can make whatever letters you want, but this is the one that I've made, and so I'm just gonna lay it over there. That's the V, and then there is the E. Make that slightly bigger. And then let's highlight all of those frosting, Command G to group it all, and let's rename that frosting. So I Command J and duplicated that layer, and I converted it to Smart Object. And then from there, there's still the lines, so I clicked Command, and there's the marching dotted ants, and I actually will do Command Delete. So I'm filling it all with white. And then from there, I'm gonna do bevel and emboss, but actually let's steal the bevel and emboss from my cookie layer. So I can do that with Option and drag it up, and that kind of copies the same. And of course I'm gonna change the bevel and emboss a little bit, and I'm just gonna make it a little bit more prominent. So there you have it, that's the frosting, and I'm actually gonna do a little bit more. Let's do a little bit of blur. So I'm gonna do a Gaussian blur, and it's gonna be very subtle. And of course the Gaussian blur could be found under filter. And then just gonna go back and tweak a little bit of it. And then that's pretty much the basis of it. So from there, you can totally go back and repeat the steps for the decorations that you make, and it's pretty much using the same techniques. I'm actually going to save this file out, and I'm going to hit Command S to save. I'm going to call this file Cookie. Hit OK. And there we have it. We just baked some cookies. And from there, you can decorate however you please. And I'll actually show you how I decorated my cookies. So these are my cookies, and I'm actually using the cookies as a cover art for podcast episodes that I curate every month. So for this month, I curated on the theme love, and there's 5 podcast episodes every month. And if you're curious, the link will be in the bio, and go check it out. And of course, I won't forget about Instagram. That's my Instagram handle, and around it is all subliminal messages. Anyways, feel free to share with me all the yummy cookies you guys have made. I would love to see it. And that's it. It's my first tutorial. Woohoo!